Hi everyone, welcome to my channel License to Roam, where I'll be providing content on football tactics and analysis on European football and the beautiful game from across the globe. You can follow me on Twitter at Edward Stratman, and if you enjoy the video, would really appreciate a like, subscribe, and any comments as I get started and hope to grow the channel. All right, for this analysis, I'll be focusing on Ivan Toney's highly anticipated and successful return to action for Brentford following his lengthy ban. Obviously, captaining the team for his comeback, Toney marked the occasion by putting in an accomplished performance and scoring a cheeky free kick that certainly drew the headlines after he moved the ball and spotted that weakness in the wall. So, having been banned from all football for 8 months in July, over 232 breaches of the FA's betting rules, the England international looked like he'd hardly been away, which was a testament to all his physical and mental preparation done at the club, as he clearly used his time superbly in order to be primed for his return. Manager Thomas Frank described the 27-year-old as buzzing and excited ahead of the match, which was actually his first in nearly 260 days, and he carried this positivity into the match as he hit the ground running, which was so crucial given Brentford's lack of numbers in attack. An absolute nightmare for Forest defenders to combat and able to hurt opponents in so many ways. Toney underlined why he's one of the elite strikers in English football, which saw him finish as the Premier League's third top scorer last season, obviously behind only Erling Haaland and Harry Kane. Obviously a powerhouse and a real handful alongside Maupay up front. The multifaceted hitman unquestionably had a key influence on proceedings, as he had a hand in all three of Brentford's goals. Obviously, starting with the first one, as mentioned earlier, you can just see him spotting that weakness in the wall there. And obviously, just cheekily moved the ball to the side there just to make the opening for himself, which went undetected. So he got away with that one. And there's obviously been a lot of talk about that in the aftermath, but just really clever and just a smart way to open his account on his comeback. And obviously, moving on to Brentford's second goal, and he dropped deep really smartly, drew his defender, which obviously made a lot of space in behind for the runner. While he didn't necessarily win the ball in this action, his robust attempt helped his team recover the ball and then charge ahead. Ultimately, they won a corner from this passage, which they scored from. So that's how he had an influence on the second goal. And then in his third goal, he obviously dropped deep to form a 3v2, which was really smart. He became the free man, drove upfield, and then hit a really nice switch of play, set the wheels in motion for their third goal. So just once again, just encapsulating what a star he is and just how badly Brentford missed him, who have obviously they've been struggling or not doing so well, especially of late in his absence. So, you know, his movement was a constant theme throughout this one. And as you look at the next graphic, just finds those gaps in between the lines, drops off smartly and just waits for that moment. Obviously very interesting to note how Maupay is pinning two markers, which just prevents anyone from coming towards him. So he's got that nice lane to be found, turn, face, and then just do what he does so well, wreak havoc whenever he gets on the ball, because despite being a huge man, he's obviously still very technical and so capable with the ball at his feet. So here's another example where he's just dropped off the line. They've obviously been wary to follow him, so he's got a heap of freedom there and he's created a 3v2. Interestingly, the midfield is split apart for him to just nicely venture into that gap there. So just once again, finding ways to progress and to help their big man just as a collective structure. So Thomas Frank's obviously a great coach, and having his key piece, Toney, back, we saw on many occasions how influential he can be. That's the 3v2, which we've seen earlier, leading to Brentford's third goal. And here's another example of just how vital his presence is, having that hold-up ability. You know, he can withstand pressure. He's so strong. And then he can just hold it up and just let others come into the play, which was extremely influential, just instigating those counters and bringing others into play. And then he obviously is such an athletic demon that he can just turn as well and run and create an option into the box too. So moving on to his, obviously it wasn't just between the lines and dropping deep where he influenced things, running in behind. He was obviously very good in this regard too, which as you can see here, he's just attacked the space. As soon as he sees an opponent stepping out, he just ducks into that space, and that's exactly what he's done there. And defenders have had to turn. He's got the forward momentum, so he can really create some damaging things in the final third. Here's another example where he's just peeled off the blind side there, and he's got acres of space there as the defense shifts across and collapsed centrally. He was regularly peeling wide in this one into the right channels. He sometimes left, but usually it was the right channel he attacked and just drifting wide, often creating those 2v1s with Ruislev, which we'll touch on later. Here's another example of just his nous and intelligence to identify spaces that arise. Obviously, the ball's come to feet of Maupay. His man's followed him deeper, and that's just opened up that little pocket And Tony's just smartly edged into that so he can be a force in behind. Really clever stuff to notice that. So it really looked like he hadn't missed a beat in a lot of occasions. And this obviously wasn't completely up to speed, but was very impressive indeed. Here's another situation right at the start of the game where he's just come in from that right and made a really clever run as he's noticed the headed flick on coming centrally there. So he's got the jump on his marker ready to pounce. Here's another situation with what I was talking about with the Ruislev 2v1s they created, which was quite a good avenue, especially going long. Obviously, Tony's just a perfect reference point and the target man for their attacks, especially if they can't beat the initial press and need to go long. There's another situation just with that 2v1, he's just peeled wide and he just has a lot of room, less populated area of the pitch, obviously with Forest centrally compact defending. It just gave him that extra bit of leeway to operate and just have that freedom and also have that support there with Ruislev for that 2v1 again. Another interesting component of his performance was the set pieces. Brentford obviously masters in his craft. The way he would peel out and use blockers and head to the back post was a real theme of the performance too. This one occasion, I believe there was two before this where he peeled off and was sort of close to either getting it directly or a flick on. But yeah, this was a good example. They very nearly scored from this one, but it just adds to the threat they have from set pieces and really amplifies their aptitude in this regard. And obviously himself is just such an aerial weapon, loves the confrontations. He's so physical. He reads the ball flight so well, and he's just a great option for headed nod downs and flick ons for his teammates, and they predict that and can move accordingly. And it's just a great option for them to have to regain the ball high up and attack against relatively unset defenses who are a little bit stretched sometimes. So yeah, he's just really powerful, reads the ball flight so well and can just outmuscle anyone. His passing and creativity added a lot of impetus to Brentford's moves going forward as well. As you can see here, just a lovely little through ball after receiving. So just really tailored it perfectly. Obviously, not all of these came to fruition, but just it was great to see him back out there and just what a great skill set he has for this Bees team. Another one here where he's smartly held the ball up and then played a really nice through ball in behind all that space, which he effectively created as well by dropping deep. And then another one here, his crossing was really excellent, as we'll touch on later. He completed 3 successful crosses, and this was another really exceptional one where he just tailored it nicely. Great speed, great whip, great curl, and he really, the blindside run there. So yeah, just another avenue that he hurt Nottingham Forest there. And then obviously the passing, when we talk about Tony, all the little back heels, one-touch flicks and one-touch layoffs like in this picture here, it just gave them a really good outball and an avenue to keep possession under a lot of pressure with his physicality and just his presence really, and his comfort dealing with pressure and being in those situations, which otherwise Brentford don't really have. He's such a unique operator and gives them a lot of different strengths that they've really missed. And obviously there's his pass map. It shows that he was dropping all over the pitch and they weren't all successful, but he certainly added quite a lot of variety to their attacks, the way he switched positions, made runs either side of the defence, always keep them guessing, always offering his team solutions while keeping the opposition guessing. There's his heat map, which just sort of further underlines that he had quite a varied role and that he was regularly venturing into different areas of the pitch to make an impact. With Tony, you always get the defensive hustle and pressing, and he came in with some very vital impacts here too, making some good interventions and just putting pressure on defenders as they look to build out and just anywhere on the pitch. If he knew he could regain possession, he certainly doesn't shy away from any challenges. Another really solid contributor on the defensive end as well. And if you look at the numbers, some of the numbers that caught the eye, obviously he won 15 duels, the most of any Brentford player. He had 4 touches inside the box, which was second to only Lewis Potter, who had 7, suffered 4 fouls, had 2 shot assists, and obviously 1 goal from 1 shot at an XG of 0.12. So he was a real difference maker. So at 27 and at the peak of his powers, it'll be captivating to see how he fares going forward after this successful comeback, as he's planning on making a push for England's squad for the Euros and maybe even to earn himself a move to one of the EPL giants this summer. It'll just be interesting to see how that all plays out. Obviously, with a team like Brentford, he'll be looking to illustrate his worth both individually and as part of the collective to stamp his claim for both potential options in the future. So 2024, the rest of this season, looks like a massive one for him in his quest to get back to his best and firing on all cylinders as soon as possible. So we'll definitely watch this space when it comes to Tony. All right, that's the end of the analysis. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Would really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video and have a great day. Stay tuned for the next analysis.